So how is Diablo 4 doing? My money is on Dead and Forgotten.
Hey folks, this is Riker, and are the charts right? Does Diablo 4 really have nearly 100% player retention almost a month into the new season?
Those are most likely bots, and that's impossible even for really good games, which Diablo 4 is not.
Helldivers 2 also just revealed probably their best new warbond yet after the most incredible in-game event, and the next Dragon Age game has a new title all of a sudden, and we can expect
We're here mostly for Diablo stuff only.
full reveal next week. We'll cover all this and other gaming news highlights of the week, but we'll start with Diablo 4. And if you're looking to find all my Diablo 4 Season 4 guides, check out my website, Riker.com, which also takes us to a word from our sponsor, Squarespace. I built my website, Riker.com, code Riker. Now, back to the Diablo 4 news. We got the launch of the anniversary event this week. It began with the March of the Goblins, and there was some confusion at first over whether the Mother's Blessing XP event, well, when would it start? Some people thought that it was going to launch at the same time as a Goblin event, and then they were disappointed to realize that it wouldn't.
Goblin event? Is Diablo 4 literally just taking everything Diablo 3 has done? You know, Diablo 3, the game that killed Diablo for a lot of people, that one. Are they just really taking everything Diablo 3 has done at this point and just shoving it in to Diablo 4? Well, actually, that's exactly my prediction that they're doing that. Again, Haradric Cube is coming. Infinity Paragon levels are coming. Again, just give it time, boys. Give it time and it's going to be here. The double Goblin event in Diablo 3 was one of the first things they, by the way, did. So, wow, that is impressively bad.
Now it's...
Oh, and that also means that there's probably going to be the Goblin Realm soon also.
Seems that the Mother's Blessing XP event was going to be starting, or was supposed to start on June 10th, but then the team decided to just launch it early, launch it the same day as the March of the Goblins, once they saw the community's reaction and that there was confusion, that they were expecting it on the same day, so now they just ended up starting it a couple of hours after the March of the Goblins, and it's going to run throughout the entirety of this anniversary event until June 20th. As a reminder, March of the Goblins means more goblins are spawning, they're dropping more loot, and in dungeons they're appearing in pairs and sometimes in packs. Unfortunately,
But of course they are.
Almost immediately complaints started to come out about the goblins being underwhelming. The Mother's Blessing event is giving a 25% XP buff and a 50% gold find buff. March of the...
Oh, by the way, is the gold fixed? Because again, the Diablo 4 team and Blizzard in general are incapable of doing anything that's not one side of the extreme angle. So, is gold completely useless now? Because it should be, because if there's something hard to get in this game, the Diablo 4 devs are going to instantaneously make it meaningless in the next minor patch. So, is gold completely meaningless now, or does it still hold some value? And I'm not talking about a usage value, I'm talking about, do you have billions of gold now, and yes, there's technically a use for it, but it's not even a 1% sink.
The Goblins ends on June 13th, and Mother's Blessing will go all the way through June 20th. As a reminder, you can also get free cosmetics in the shop every day. Now, as for the anniversary event itself, at least the Goblin side of things, people don't seem to be very impressed. I see callouts that it's low effort, the gold buff is meaningless.
Of course it's low effort, because it's a ripoff from Diablo 3.
Because it only buffs gold dropped from monsters, when the vast majority of our gold comes from Whisper turn-ins. The Goblin loot isn't better than just farming Blood Maiden and Helltide, and overall that if there wasn't even an announcement that this event was happening, a lot of people probably wouldn't even notice the event at all. For myself personally, I knew I'd just be in it.
Yep, sounds like your typical Diablo 4 quality.
For the XP buff. This is the perfect time to crank out more level 100 characters. But what about you folks? Are you fine with the event as it is, or do you think Blizzard should have done more? We also got this week patch notes for an upcoming patch that'll address a lot of the things we discussed in last week's video. First off, Stygian stones are going to drop more often now. That's at pit level 1. By pit tier 40, you have a 10% chance. Pit tier 100 is 18%, and pit tier 200.
So people complain about some currency that you're supposed to farm being not farmable fast enough, and there you go. Again, everything becomes pointless and meaningless. Why just not give people maxed out characters with character editor available at this point?
Yeah, a lot of people are running that. Is going to be 30%. I'm actually concerned the devs may have overcorrected here at the lower pit levels, but honestly, I mean, we're now a month.
What do you mean overcorrected? They always overcorrect. There's not a single situation in Diablo 4's history where the devs don't overcorrect something.
Into the season, it's probably fine for now. They also made changes to pit bosses. They adjusted the damage of boss powers and boss affixes to be more in line with the difficulty of the dungeon leading up to the fight. This is another big thing that we spoke about. And they also reduced the frequency of boss affixes so they don't overlap. Again, this is going to help with being able to dodge.
By the way, he's using a big spender ability constantly here, and this is what I love. This is exactly what happened in Diablo 3. Yet again, shocking, I know, but stick with me. At the start of each Diablo game, considering mana is lame or something like that, every class has their own mechanic. And what inevitably happens is the fact that people complain, or even without people complaining, Blizzard just makes it so your resource expenditure is 0. This is the inevitable outcome of every Blizzard Diablo game, where they have this unique spender for abilities, and they make it so every class never uses a single shred of it because that's boring or something like that. It is just wonderful. There's no point of this. Might as well make it a mana bar and just give people mana potions at this point, because this bar for not a single class ever drains
those what people were calling one-shot effects. So altogether, this just addresses exactly some of our big topics from last week. The jump in difficulty, right? From pre-boss to boss was just so extreme, and players were feeling like they were getting one shot by the boss mechanics, and that was frustrating. Now, one thing I'd like to correct actually from last week's video, I said that the scaling of the pit meant that you would reach...
They will never be able to make it so that, you know, there's something that doesn't one-shot you, because the game is just impossible to balance. There's always going to be something dumb that one-shots you, and there's no counterplay to it, so have fun.
The point eventually where incoming damage will always one-shot you. That's actually not the case. Hat tip to Rob. At pit level 100 and beyond, incoming damage stops scaling upward. Enemy health keeps scaling, but if you can survive a single hit at pit level 100, then you can survive a single hit at pit level 200 as well. And as long as you build your character correctly and max out...
That sounds stupid.
...all your defenses and stack enough life, then...
Also, I also predicted this, that they're going to create a situation where effectively the HP keeps scaling, and then it's going to be like Diablo 3 rifts at the very end, where you can't even touch a white mob and it has this much health, and you nuke it and it loses like only 10%. Because that was Diablo 3. And again, Diablo 4 is just reskin Diablo 3 at this point. There's nothing unique about it. It's literally just different graphics, same pile of trash.
Nothing in the pit should be able to one-shot kill you, starting at any level, for that matter, any level. Now, it's harder for some classes to get there than others. Barbarians, in particular, are able to stack a lot of that toughness much more easily than, say, a sorcerer. But if you're willing to put in the effort to build up the right defensive tools, then you should arrive in a position where nothing will one-shot you. Now, that doesn't change the fact that we've had this perception of one-shots, and I think that perception is because, again, of the huge difficulty ramp from pre-boss to the boss. So, like, when nothing is hurting you all that much before the boss, and then all of a sudden the boss one-shots you, it feels worse than it actually is. The pre-boss stuff makes you feel like you don't...
No, I'm actually pretty sure it's exactly on point.
...need all that much toughness, and it makes the things that do kill you in one hit at the boss feel like, oh, well, that would have been a one-shot no matter how much defense I had. So hopefully spreading some awareness on We just need to improve the defense of our builds and look for more, again, defensive tools to bring into the pit if you really want to push those high pit levels. I actually hope now that things haven't become too easy. What I had proposed was lowering boss difficulty and increasing the pre-boss difficulty, but it sounds like they're just lowering boss difficulty and not changing the pre-boss stuff. So, really what...
Can't have the game too hard for the casual players that only have 5 seconds a day to play it because they need to take care of their 12 divorced wives and 73 children and juggle it all between 15 jobs and five side hustles. It is what it is, boys. It's just life of the casual dad player.
What I just hope is that by the end of the season that we don't have people clearing pit level 200. I want the pit to remain that mountain that has...
If people don't clear pit level 200, they're gonna complain, and Blizzard is gonna nerf it so people do clear pit level 200. This is the inevitability of man, and especially spoiled men and whatnot. And I'm using men as, you know, a synonym for humanity in general in this case, because this applies to every aspect of human life. If we see it, we want it. This the greatest example of this, especially in Blizzard games, was the difficulty systems in WoW raiding. You had your normals, you had your mythicals, and then you had your mythic plus. Normal was doable with your eyes closed and 100% of your party dead. Mythic was same thing, but you needed to have one person alive. And then there was Mythic Plus, or whatever it's called, that was extremely hard and only supposed to be done by the like top 10% of the player base. And you know what happened? Well, people who were not the top 10% of the player base, who didn't put in the effort, who didn't do anything, who didn't have the gear, they saw that that's not a possibility that they can do, but they couldn't do it. They didn't want to try and do it, so they complained about it. And this is what's going to happen here. If level 200 is available, people are just going to complain that they can't get it, even though they're not actually putting in effort. And Blizzard is once again going to nerf this crap. Or alternatively, they're going to add more grind mechanics, aka the Infinity Paragon level system. Again, it is coming. Give it a season, give it half a season, give it a couple of months. It is inevitable that they at least add this. I think that, again, the Harada Cube is also happening, but at the bare minimum, Infinity power scaling is 100% happening. No matter how you look at it, it's happening in this game.
Has not been climbed in the same season that it launched in. This patch also included some other fixes and adjustments. Targeted unique items, for instance, dropping from bosses. They apparently couldn't drop with greater affixes, so that's now been fixed. Duplicate or obsolete temper manuals will no longer drop. Hooray. And now the
manuals are so stupid. When I tried Season 4, it's like, okay, what the fuck is the point of these manuals? They just drop, I don't even pick them up, and then I loot them in town in the chest and just click on them. I don't care about what's in them. Like, it's just this random thing that makes no sense to drop in the first place, okay? I don't feel good picking them up. I don't feel good reading them. I don't feel good. Just give us all the recipes from the start.
pit remembers what level you previously just did in the pit, and it will default to that selection. Oh, happy day. I'm honestly surprised, actually, that they got this fix in so quickly. It's such a huge quality of life thing, and I just assume that something that's like UI related and quality of life isn't something that could be done so fast with such a fast.
But I'm actually interested about. Oh, he's gonna talk about it right now. I was like, where's the player numbers?
Fast turnaround. Now, one interesting thing that I've seen brought up is retention numbers for Diablo 4 Season 4. And if we are to go by the Steam numbers, which are the only...
Yeah, this is bots. This is 100% bots. Because there is a market for Diablo 4 Gold. D4 buy gold and items. There we go. D4gold.com. D4 gold for sale. Let's see what are the prices. Oh, we can buy boosting. We can buy items. We can buy gold. Wait a minute. I'll switch scenes so you can actually see it also. Okay. Yes. There we go. Look at this. It's so great. We can buy gold. Let's click on the gold. What do we have here? I actually have no... What the hell is this? Oh, you need to... Okay. Let's obviously pick hot... oh, look at that. 500 mil. Only 4 euros. What a time to be alive. And this is how much they have. So yeah, botting is rampant, boys. Jesus, botting is pretty hot here, huh? Let's see at softcore items. What do we have here? I don't know. Duriel materials. Oh, nice. Wait. What do you mean? Times 50? But it says 100. Does it require two? I don't know. Everything here. Stygian stones. Jesus. Yeah, it's all bots. It must be all 100% bots, right? Why are these Stygian oh, times 50. Got it. Man, look at this. And what is the rest that you can buy here again? Let's check boosting. Dude, you even have boosting. That's insane. Uber and Ariel, order now. Power leveling. Jesus. It costs 18 cents. I'm an idiot if I don't buy it. Wow. Absolutely. Well, what is this? Tormented tier bundle. Express stats. Oh, this is oh, so this is an account. I get it. Okay. The pit boost. Look at all of this, and people are buying this most likely. Ultra bundle, gear, desired meta build 4 gear, renown up to level 5. What the hell? Wow, this is crazy. Yeah, it's all bots. And also, oops, can't get back. Oh, that's the right scene. So also, it's a thing, by the way. People are gonna bot on Steam most likely more than they're gonna bot on the other thing, because on Steam you can see player numbers, and if player numbers rising, that's good for the botters, because that's gonna insinuate people to play. It's like, oh my god, Diablo 4, so back, baby.
Numbers that we have access to, then Diablo 4 has managed to effectively maintain 100% player retention since
yeah, it's all bots 100%. Not even a question.
Season 4's May 14th launch. We're about 3 to 4 weeks into the season now.
Anyone who believes that this is realistic, you have brain damage.
Now, and after an initial weekend...
Also, maybe there's something like, what's it called? Steam sale or something like that. I would not be surprised that Blizzard pulls a Bethesda. When the Fallout show came out and it was a success, they put everything on an 80% discount. Well, 75. Fallout 76 had an 18% discount because it's just that bad. It's hilarious. But anyway, they put everything on a discount because the reality is the old player base was gone. They needed new blood, so that's why they did a discount. They were desperate in getting people in, and I would not be surprised if Diablo 4 at Season 4 launch also had a discount. And, well, the botters are gonna primarily, first of all, buy it where it's cheaper, because accounts do get sometimes banned, as we all know. And, well, if it's equal, they're gonna bot on. There is a good chance it's Steam, not the actual thing, because again, the more interested there seems to be in a game, the better it is for botters, because they just increase their market.
That we have access to, then Diablo 4 has managed to effectively maintain 100% player retention since Season 4's May 14th launch. We're about 3 to 4 weeks into the season now, and after an initial weekend peak of 29,000 players on May 19th, those numbers have remained relatively consistent ever since. That's after numbers were consistently under 10,000 and often closer to 5,000 towards the end for like the 3 months prior to the season launch. We consistently see within modern ARPGs a drop off of about 50% by 2 weeks into a new season. So if that's been the pattern in all...
That's a random number he's pulling out. That's not the average.
All other modern ARPGs, why haven't the numbers dropped in Diablo 4
bots
3+ weeks in? Well, first of all, it's important to recognize that we're just looking at a small subset of the D4 community, probably the smallest subset. D4 is on Xbox, and it recently came to Game Pass.
Xbox is probably actually the smallest subset of D4 players, because Xbox is the smallest subset of gamers in general.
Where it saw huge numbers. D4 is on PlayStation, which just generally has more players than Xbox across most games.
Still second lowest.
And it was on PC Battle.net for months before it ever came to Steam. So I think it's fair to assume that most Diablo PC players play on Battle.net rather than on Steam by an enormous majority. Basically, by the time the game came out on Steam, since there was no heads up that the game ever would come to Steam, it was a complete surprise. Anyone who wanted to buy D4 on PC had already bought it on Battle.net. So D4's Steam player base represents...
So there must essentially be some kind of... Actually, let's check. This is a new video, right? I don't have it bought, so I should be able to check. Let's see. Diablo 4. Let's go. Oh, no, there doesn't seem to be any kind of sale. So it's just bots in general? Is that it? Interesting. View page. Let's see. Oop, don't care about your shitty thing. No, there is no sale. Interesting. Deluxe edition, $90. Ultra deluxe, still 100. What a time to be alive, boys. Okay, so there is no sale. Very cool. So yeah, it must be bots, because how is this working?
Represents players who did not buy the game at launch, meaning that on average they probably aren't big Diablo fans or even big ARPG fans. Again, on average, I'm sure there are exceptions. We also have to note that starting on June 2nd...
Yeah, my expectations is this is pretty much just pure bot activity. Because if this is going up so much on Steam, this means that on Battle.net this activity is way higher in reality, right? Because Battle.net is by like probably the 90% of the player base actually is, you know? Because most people who have Diablo have other games and things like that. There is value in the Blizzard launcher, effectively. So, you know. And considering Diablo 4, well, I see Diablo 4 content on YouTube and whatnot. It's not doing horribly, but obviously it's down from its peaks. So the fact that this number is going up, but those things do not follow, that is super beyond sus. So I think it's all bots.
Second, D4 on Steam went on sale for 50% off. Thus, the spike at the end of the graph over here, raising player counts. So with a...
so the thing is just over. Okay, got it.
Surge of new players coming in to replace the exiting players, the data gets muddied and it paints a picture that does not accurately represent retention. So if we just...
Wait, so when was the Steam sale happening? But yeah, that's bad. That means they are struggling with players, because the old players that initially bought the game are not enough in Blizzard's opinion, which is bad. Because whenever your old player base is not enough or not good enough, there's going to be drastic changes to everything, because, well, you need to attract a new player base. And that's when your game completely flips. Now, admittedly, they have already been flipping Diablo 4 into Diablo 3, so that's all technically still happening, but this is not good news.
Regard that last part, and we just look at the numbers right before the sale, we see that the numbers were down to 22,000, from 29,000 down to 22. That's about a 23% drop in players over the course of 2 weeks. Still significantly better than the 50% we typically see in the genre. But I still think the Steam numbers are like...
Again, Riker's not really good with numbers. So there's one thing to consider, and he already said that thing himself. He just doesn't know it needs to be considered when you're thinking about these numbers. And that is the fact that everyone already owned Diablo 4 on Battle.net. So this graph is not really, you know, if you're looking at this graph, you're like, well, 33k players is not really that much in general, right? Considering the success of other major titles. If you're just looking at this graph in a vacuum, then 33 players for Diablo 4 is absolutely horrible and devastating. Again, And this is not counting the fact that this Diablo 4 wasn't on Steam to begin with. It got put on Steam a very, very long, very late. It got put on Steam very late, and that's a big deal here. So the people who are playing Diablo 4 are, well, people who have never tried Diablo 4, which is a minority, because most people have Blizzard Launcher, let's be real, who play games, especially games like this, because of everything that has previously existed. And, well, the people who are going to be playing here are the most dedicated. That's the reality.
Likely overperforming relative to average numbers across other platforms for another reason. If a new PC player picks up the game today, on what platform is it likely to be? Again, if you didn't buy D4 until Season 4, I'm willing to bet that a lot more people are buying it on Steam rather than Battle.net because...
I don't believe this. I think people are still buying it on a 10-to-1 ratio on Battle.net. If they are buying it. I think everyone who has bought it already is buying it. And now it's just the people who don't have Battle.net maybe buying it on Steam.
They're likely not Diablo fans that have been accustomed to keeping all their Diablo games on their Diablo account on Battle.net, and B, they're probably just generally in favor of keeping all their PC games on Steam because, I mean, come on, Steam is awesome. Why wouldn't you? Basically, what I'm saying is that we likely have the biggest number of new PC players on Steam right now, like by a big majority, versus on Battle.net. And for a new player, you have a whole campaign to play through before you begin to dive into the end game.
Yeah, I don't agree with this, but I do think, there is a chance for this because this is kind of untouched territory where we don't actually know the statistics too well because this doesn't happen often. In fact, it happens barely ever. So every situation where this happens is theoretically unique by default.
You could skip the campaign, and I'm sure some do, but the campaign is a whole lot of extra content to play through. And that can
keep... The campaign is boring and shit.
Keep, an average gamer busy for a whole month. Now, taking all that into account...
The best part is when you get to kill a girl's mom, and that's pretty much the end.
I'm still willing to bet that Season 4 has the best retention of any Diablo 4 season yet. Just anecdotally, it still sounds like people are having fun. It still...
I would agree with this. Around the time that Season 4 was out, only the most mouth breeder of mouth breeders were left playing Diablo 4, and every normal person had given up on it as an actual good game. So the people who are waited for Season 4 and were excited, oh my god, everything now is a plus damage thing. There is no thought to be even had in making characters. Oh my lord, this is so great. Yeah. I bet those people are still playing because, well, not a lot of games accommodate pure autism nowadays, except for Blizzard games.
Sounds like people are logging in. The D4 bad memes have not returned yet. Now, unfortunately, again, we don't have...
Well, D4 bad memes, there's no reason for them to return because it's over. It's over.
Any other data to go by. If anyone tells you they have data, if there's any website showing data, that's not real data. There are websites that find ways to extrapolate numbers based on whatever metrics they're pulling from, but none of it is accurate. None of it is real numbers. It can be off by an entire order of magnitude. They're just guessing. It's probably better than whatever guessing you and I can come up with, but it's still just guesswork. Only Blizzard has the real numbers, and I think that they have positioned their Steam sale wisely and their XP event wisely as well.
Why would they position their Steam event wisely?
To bring in new players just as the player count was starting to drop, and to bring back players who were maybe starting to be done with the season with
the obvious things. Got it.
Promise of faster leveling of a new character. It's like, well, okay, sure, I guess I'll make a sorcerer now. But how about you folks? Are you still playing Season 4? Why or why not?
Nope, probably not even gonna play Season 5. Maybe for an hour. Well, at this rate, it's gonna be probably less. I lasted 3 hours or 4 hours, maybe 5 hours in Season 4. It's just... You log in, you go to a Helltide, and that's your whole rotation of experience. Yay. Not exciting, Not exciting at all.
Sound off in the comments. Oh, and the Xbox
Well, anyway.
Games Showcase is happening tomorrow.
Yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it. It's so over for Diablo 4. It just is. The people who are left are barely considered people at this point. It's just boring. Okay? The item rework, no one fucking asks you to completely simplify every item down to just plus damage, plus HP stats. It's boring, it's dumb, and you should feel bad about it. Anyway, I wonder. Well, I don't wonder how this is gonna end. Diablo 4 is already on the chopping block. There's gonna be still some interest in it, but it's already following the same route of irrelevance as Diablo 3. It came out, Blizzard mocked it up, destroyed it, literally same decision making that Diablo 4 is currently doing, and there you go. And after this, I hope the guy who Todd Ferguson, first he destroyed Halo, now he's destroying Diablo 4. I can't wait until he moves on to his next big project and destroys that game also. What a great guy. Anyway, that was Riker. Bye-bye.